All right, so what do you think?
I like the pulling in and taking out. I think I got kind of lost um with trying to find like because I don't have a lot of sky to show for,
Yeah,
like except like in the back.
yeah, yeah.
So I had to like think about, okay, well, how much light is reaching? I don't really have
Sure.
many light sources
Yeah.
to begin with. So I'm like, okay, is there like reflective light in the sky maybe or like clouds above? So if there's any like I guess like ambient light, I don't know,
Yeah,
that
sort of. Yeah, bounce
or
light, whatever you
maybe
want to
like
call it.
downstairs there's some windows like down like on the street so that can illuminate the guy passing by so he doesn't get lost in shadow.
Yeah. Hang on.
But yeah.
Let's try this. I'm gonna go. I just want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Hang on. You could probably darken that a little bit,
Mm.
and maybe here. Because you got a lot of light underneath at number one, right?
Right.
So sometimes it'll sort of throw it into a little bit of dark at the top, but he also has some light sort of back here and back here. So I can kind of push that a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It looks pretty good lit up though, right?
Yeah, that is
I think
kind of
it's a fun
cute.
technique. I like doing that
Mm-hmm.
because it's sort of instant gratification. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and then I think you kind of are. Yeah, you kind of are.
Mm.
You put a silhouette back in here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
And I like that some of these are sort of soft and some of them aren't so soft. So you're sort of managing your kind of edges a little bit that way, where everything's not. Because if people do this all the time, they go with sort of an airbrush, and everything is like soft, and it just makes everything look misty and foggy, and it doesn't make any sense, right?
Mm.
Unless you're saying it's a misty,
Right.
foggy environment, right?
Right. Like at first everything was, and then I'm like, I need some harder light. So I went back in with like the pencil brush
I
and
didn't even
I
know you threw this guy in here. Was that guy wasn't in here before? Was he?
no he wasn't. That guy and the guys on the truck weren't there in the
Oh
beginning.
yeah. Any questions?
Do you think it's like it's kind of looking one tone like in the background?
No, not really.
Okay. I've just been looking at a
I mean,
drawing
there's all
looking at
kinds
the
of things
screen.
you could do. Like if you were going, I could go further and go. I mean, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Hang on. Oops. Gosh darn it. Why it work for nothing? Let's do this real fast. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Hang on. If I wanted to light that up a little more,
Hmm.
I could also take it down a little more. Regan, let's see if we can do this. No, I can't. Now it pulls the whole thing. I could even go, let's see. Even if I did that and then I darkened up this side over here again a little bit, then it'll start to sit back a little further.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I mean, I'm just playing. It's not, I don't think it's something that needs to be done. I'm just saying the thing I like about working, digitally or whatever, is that I kind of can endlessly play with this stuff and just try all sorts of things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It definitely makes making changes easier, and like if you don't like something, then you can push it back.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
And then when you're drawing, your finger starts doing like Control Z, and you're like, dang it, I've been doing digital
exactly.
for too long.
But see how that kind of knocked it back there a little bit and quieted it down a little?
Okay. It reads a lot easier too.
And it's kind of pushing the foreground forward a little bit. So it's like little tweaky stuff like that I'll look at and, how can I push it? Mm-hmm. And it's always good to take this when you have it, set up like this and go back in and look at it tomorrow and go, what? You'll see things differently and go in and play around with it, right?
Right.
Because I always go in. I mean, it's impossible not to. Even if can you guys hear me?
No, definitely.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay. Like even if I scan a traditional piece,
I can hear you.
It's almost impossible not to go in and kind of juice it a little bit or maybe clean something up or whatever. It's just, why not? It makes it better,
mm-hmm.
And sometimes, to be honest with you, like with digital or with traditional, sometimes it's hard to get it that saturated and hold it together. It's kind of hard to do. So sometimes you go, I'm just going to juice it just a little bit. Or maybe not. I don't know. It just depends. And a lot of times I'm juicing it and I realize I'm actually just juicing it back up to what it actually looked like, especially if it's a scan. Because scans tend to really do a lot of weird stuff to the illustration or whatever I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
They take a lot of depth out of it and they sort of flatten it and they just do a lot of weird stuff. There's certain things it doesn't see sometimes. That's why sometimes it's better to take a photo of it as opposed to a scan. It just gets a little more depth to it. And I'm just trying to put back into it some of the flavor of the original illustration that I've lost in the scan because the scanner just does weird stuff to it,
Definitely.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
No, I don't want to hang on. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Where's Brian?
Here.
Okay, I think the lighting's getting all to the same value. Yeah?
Somewhat.
Well, it is all the same value.
Going in the building?
Level of brightness, right? If you go drive past a skyscraper or whatever you call high rise or whatever, you'll notice that there's banks of windows that are lower in value. There's variation inside the window. There's if you're talking about color, there's color shifts. It'll go a little greenish, it'll go a little bluish, it'll go a little yellowish, all in the same building, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure that this isn't all reading is the same. I would knock down the light from the street lamp kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Because that's going to get it's everything's competing with itself. Some things have to fall back, right? You there?
Yeah.
And then the stars, they're all the same size and they're all sort of soft. I'd go smaller. And I think we talked about this. I always sometimes just certain ones I hit with a pinpoint of really hard light right in the middle and they'll pull forward so it'll start to sparkle a little bit. Yeah?
Yeah, I just click on it like 3 times, 4 times. So make them a little bit more brighter. Because when I just go somewhere in the desert at night at the desert, I see bright stars like that.
Yeah, you can, but they're not going to be all uniform and they're not all going to be fuzzy,
Mm.
right?
And the light building's okay? All right. So the light in the buildings is okay, or you want me to knock it down?
I want variation.
Okay.
So some of them are banks that are, and also they're all at the same brightness, right?
Mm. Okay.
Like most of the time, a window is not going to be that uniformly lit. It's going to have bright spots and places where the light falls off a little bit. Because you're talking about an environment in there that has multiple light sources. Some of them might be near the window, some of them might be further away, some of them might be on the ceiling. Who knows, right?
Oh yeah.
So that will build in variation by itself. And then banks of windows will have lighter and darker contrast. And then I tone down these here.
Okay.
I might
Is
not
that
even have them hit the ground. Man, I guess I would.
Yeah. Okay. Go back, please.
Why? What is it?
Like really quick. For the light, it's in the building.
Say it again.
Like right here. Like that one. You want me to put that one? Okay. You see that
You're
light? It's in the building, the main building, but right.
this one
Okay.
over here?
You see the mouse? Like move it to the right.
Here?
No. Yeah. Like go down,
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that, right? Kind of like
Well,
that. You
this
made a
is-
lower
this
just
is-
like that in the
This is a
lobby.
little, I want variation. So yes, this is a little lighter than this. So
Alright.
yeah, that's variation. Yeah?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's look. Amelia,
Hello.
what do you think?
It's okay. I haven't really done this before, so feel
That's
free.
good. Did you make this moon out here? Did you just paint it?
Yeah, I painted it in.
Oh, that's cool. See how simple that is, right?
Mhm.
You know what I might do? I might kind of go maybe this, just so I could get some light on, because I'm always like looking and go, well, how can I, if I want to add something somewhere, you know, how can I light it, right?
I was having a bit of a hard time because, like, with this style of architecture,
Well, like this one here,
like almost all the buildings are white.
like if I say there's a couple of bottom lights, because they do that on houses, then that gives me an excuse to light that guy up a little bit, right?
Okay.
And then, you know, I could make the argument that this building here, right? Oops. Right here. Could have a light on. Let's see if I light this up a little bit. Oops. If I say this is lit up a little, you're kind of doing it already, but. Why isn't that? Oh, that's why. Hang on. If I light this up a little more right there, then I could say maybe there's a window on the other side of that building. And then I got an excuse to come over here and hit this a little bit that's getting hit from the inside of that building.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Right. So I'm just looking at places where I can go, well, it could be an open window on the other side. So, you know, that could, you know, change it a little bit. And then I might find maybe, maybe there's a little light on that. Maybe just a hint of light right there.
Okay.
I think the main thing was just getting some light on this guy here, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that makes it look better.
And then you just go, okay, there's a couple bottom lights uplighting the front of the house, right? And then maybe here, I might just say a little of this light. Maybe the little of this light's bouncing out over here. So I light something up a little bit in that foreground, so it'll pop it forward a little bit, yeah?
Thank you.
But other than that, I think you're fine. You don't have any problem with it?
Not really. It was fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun too.
Mike,
Yeah.
to be honest, it's fun having you have. It's fun for me having you as my professor.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
Where's Esteban?
I'm here.
I think I would come in here and get this a little more coherent. And maybe, like this is getting all crosshatchy. I'd probably get rid of that.
Yeah.
It's a little much. But I want to see if I can really blow it out. Let's see. Hey, did you guys download those files? You guys?
The
Yeah,
brush.
I have not done so yet.
Where's my sometimes my stuff just disappears in here. It's the weirdest thing.
Professor,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to download the Smudge Brush.
Why is
I
that?
don't know why, but whenever I would click on it, it said like error, and then it's something about like not being able to open on Photoshop. Like I would download it and then I would click on the file, not the ZIP one, but the other one, and then and it says broken pipe error 32. I have no idea what that means.
I have no idea
but
what it means either.
yeah, it won't open when I download it.
Are you on a Windows?
Is your photo?
No, I'm on a Mac.
I mean, it shouldn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Is your Photoshop fully updated?
Is my Photoshop updated?
Yeah. Is it completely like 2020? You're not using like 2019 version, right?
No,
Because I had that problem.
it says Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop 2020.
Oh, okay.
You have to import it in your brushes.
But I think she's saying, okay, so can you unzip it?
The panel. I have a Mac as well.
Who was I just talking to? Oh,
EBR file,
I
right?
don't know.
yeah, let's get to that in a minute. Hang on. All right, so I
It
would
was
start.
a
Go ahead.
ABR. Like, no, that's fine.
Yeah, it's an ABR file, I think.
Yeah.
Or no, it might be a TPL file. I'm not sure, actually.
It says ABR.zip.
Oh, it is the ABR. Okay. I'm not sure what that is. Darn it. Come on. My computer won't stop thinking. Hang on. Okay, Esteban. Where you at?
Yeah.
Okay, see what I'm doing? I'm trying to get these things a little more coherent, the clouds and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Hopefully it stopped thinking, I think. Okay, it did. Be careful here. Like, see here, right here on this wall?
Yeah.
See how it's getting very soft and kind of cotton candy-ish?
Yeah.
Make sure that be careful managing, again, your hard and soft edges, right? And then I go, what's lighting this wall, right?
Yeah.
So I might go, well, what's a way I can What's a way I can
For me,
light
it
it?
would be the windows from the.
Okay, then I'd probably go. It's going to be really sloppy, but. Let's simplify this. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my gradient tool. I'm just going to subtly light it. And it feels a little more solid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then maybe, because this is getting a cast shadow up here, or there's an overhang here, could probably come in here. You know, maybe get a little bit of an overhang there. Probably soften the bottom of the edge there a little bit. Just a hair. And that way it's got a solid meeting point where it hits the ground, right?
Yeah.
And then again, here, where's this lighting coming from on this?
That would be from the moon. That would be more or less on the left.
Then I would come in here probably and speak to that and put a moon up there, right?
Yeah.
See, it feels a little more coherent if I've got a moon up there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any problems with anything?
No, just figuring it. Just it took me a while to play around with the smoothing to at least try to figure that out.
Yeah, the thing with doing this, and the reason I like doing a night shot is that you got to design your own lighting, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the same as doing a daylight thing where you go, oh, the sun's here, everything's casting like that, and you kind of know what it is, right? This you got to be a little more, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Where's Ethan?
Here I am.
Okay, same thing I was saying earlier. All these lights are lit, or all these windows are lit at the same level, right?
Yep.
So like knock them back a little bit, put some hot spots in it, and I'd shape out these clouds a little more.
Okay.
And
I have
also,
one
you're going to need some darks in here, huh?
I have one question about the window values.
Mm-hmm.
Values. Generally, should it be the closest ones should be lighter, further ones darker, or the other way around?
Yeah, more or less. But you also, as they get further away, like look at. Of course, it's taking forever to load. There it goes. Let me see if I can find a good one. Of course, it's small. Okay, so if you look at this shot, look at all the variation in this line. Look at all the variation here. This is going yellowish. This is going orangey. There's little hot spots. Some of them are, this whole bank right here is lighter than all the other ones. The same thing back here. If you notice, there's not a lot of uniformity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what it's just partly, it's not just how close they are, it's what kind of lights are in there. Are they sodium vapor? Are they fluorescent? Are they incandescent? Are they LED? Are they blue LEDs? Are they warm LEDs? You know, there's so much variety of light. And then there's different temperatures. And then you're looking into a room where there's multiple light sources. So you might have hot spots. You might have whole areas where they've turned out almost all the lights, but it's darker. That floor, like some places they turn off the lights, but they're not totally off. It's just darker. So then that floor will just get sort of, you know, kind of darkish. And then the next one, maybe somebody's working late, so they still got the lights on. And then they're just working at their desk, and all the other desk lights and things are off. Now you get kind of a hot spot right in front of the glass. So it's all that stuff creates variety in the lighting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just vary it a little bit.
Okay. And about the roofs you were talking about?
What about, no, I said reshape the clouds a little bit. Give them some shape.
Okay, cool.
Because there's always a danger of making clouds and they look sort of like cotton balls or something, right?
Yeah.
They usually have a little bit of shape to them, a little bit of sort of, I don't know, structure, I guess.
Thank you for your notes.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Where's Grace?
I'm here.
Okay, what do you think?
I kind of struggled with the lamps. I wasn't sure where the light was supposed to hit. Yeah.
Okay, well, lamps. Okay, so here's the thing with this kind of light. I might have talked about this. I can't remember.
I wasn't here Monday, so sorry about that.
It wasn't them. It was a while back.
Oh, okay. All right.
You sort of have hotter with a lamp, okay? So you've got sort of this, right? And then it's going to get a little hotter towards the middle. That's the light source. That's the point source of the light, correct? Yeah? Where'd you go?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can still go a little hotter around
I'm here.
it. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what that was.
Professor, I think it's just you because we can hear her perfectly fine.
How dare you? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just kind of hit that a little bit. And then I'm going to go one more. And see how it just starts to get a little more of a lit kind of look. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I don't really need
What
to
about
do
the
Go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead. What were
The
you saying?
cast shadow? Like I was asking about the cast shadow for the lamp. Would it just go around that sidewalk area?
It tends to just sort of, I mean, it's going straight down.
Yeah, yeah.
So it tends to do that. Now, sometimes you'll walk around at night, you'll find all kinds of weird stuff that happens with artificial lighting. You'll see these weird cross shadows and all this kind of stuff. But I think I just make it easy on myself on that and just think of it as being down. I don't even know if I'd like the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? And then here, look, here we can go in. Number one, I would probably put something over this. Like give it some kind of frame maybe. And then I can go in here and do a couple of hot spots. And you see how that feels a little more believable?
Yeah.
Because again, there's variation in there. Everybody makes this mistake of putting all the windows are like a diffused white light. And it's like, that's not how it works. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, some of them you can let sit back like that because sometimes like somebody will have, like I've noticed, like they might just have one light on in that room and it'll just be a pretty even light and that's it. Or they have a TV on and it sort of has that dull light. It kind of flickers a little bit, but it's just basically dull light, right? But what I want to do is come in here and just dance some of this idea of, you know, a little, not everywhere. I don't want to overdo it. But you can see how it gives a little more life like right here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so then I'm just looking for like, are these bottom lights down here?
Where?
On the,
I'm trying to find your cursor.
right here.
It's like it's from that window, but I think it's a little too harsh.
Oh, it's okay. It's not describing the window. That's the problem. So if we go,
Yeah.
oops. Yeah, this I would probably, if I'm going to do that, it might be a little more. Wait, let me redo that. You know, it's probably going to cast that shape a little more. And then again, I think I'm going to go here. And this is going to be screaming too loud at first, but I'll knock it down. Damn it. Let's do this one. I don't really want it to go all the way like that. Hang on. So I might have to do these one at a time. And then pull this down because it can't be that bright. You know, it's probably going to be a little more like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. That looks
It's going to
better.
have a little more. It's going to have a little more structure to it because it's being cast through a geometric shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I might still put a couple of these in here. Might go. Actually, let's go get. I want to take this down a little bit. I don't want it at 100%. So probably a little strong, but I think it's okay. Let's see if I can still go to full brightness here. Yeah. And then here and there, I can pop in that little sparkle. I can do some that are a little brighter. That just gives it a little bit of depth, right? Yeah?
Yeah, I see it.
And then here, I'd probably darken these roofs up. Roofs probably aren't going to be super light. I mean, some of them are, but not very many. Let's go. And if I go, it needs to be a little darker. And just knocking the roofs down a little bit, it's going to kind of start to structure things up a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. No problem with the tools or anything? That all made sense?
Yeah, it was pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, good.
The tools, at least.
You know what's funny is that you guys, like when I had an ex-girlfriend, she taught me this stuff with the masking. I did not get it at all. Like it took me a long time to get it. I'm like, I don't get this. Like, what do you mean I'm painting stuff out? I'm painting stuff. I don't get it. You know, I don't know why. It just didn't resonate with me. Okay, where's Karina?
Right here.
Again, okay, so now that we're doing that thing with everything's a soft edge, right?
Yeah.
So kind of go in there and start managing that because it makes, see how it's weird, how just everything feels like an airbrush thing?
Yeah.
Now, you could get a little of that if you're telling me it's a very misty night or something like that, but still, it's got to be managed, okay?
Yeah. I was trying to do the misty.
But something's got to have some...
The sky, but I still need to work on it.
Hang on. I'd like structure these clouds up a little. It's really important that you think about your edges, okay? It's more of a painting thing, but when you're talking about digital drawing, you cannot talk about digital drawing without starting to talk about rendering and kind of painterly stuff, okay? Because it's so easy. Like
Okay.
we'll do a painted thing later on. You have to talk about it, you know? I'm not going to talk about painting as much in like a traditional drawing class, but in digital drawing, we have to talk about rendering and things like that and things like edge control. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And is everybody understanding what I say when I mean edge control?
Yeah.
Okay. Start looking at Sargent. Start looking at Zorn. Start looking at Soroya. Start looking at all these Richard Schmid, all these masters of brushwork. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get through to you, and I'm trying to get through to you now because I want to plant the seed. Because I see this all the time where you guys go in and take digital painting, and there's no knowledge of painting in there. So they have this certain look that you can always tell they don't really know what they're doing. So it always has a bunch of smudgy edges and a bunch of soft edges, and there's no there's no management of edges. And if there's no management of edges with your work, it will never look professional. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, when I looked at portfolios, if I saw that, it was like, next, not looking at this. You know, this person doesn't know how to paint. So that, you know, they don't know how to render or whatever. And it would knock you out of the running right off the bat.
Mike,
Yeah.
drawing digitally is the same thing as rendering?
No, it's an easier leap to rendering in digital. It's almost impossible not to start, you know, when I'm working on something, it's just so easy to start throwing value into it. And there's so many ways, like this is one way of doing it, that it's like, if I'm going to do a scene or whatever, if I'm doing something, it's not just a scene. I mean, there's a million things. I'm going to show you guys a trick later with this. It'll use a little of this and a little of a, whatever you call it, smart objects and things like that, where we can do multiple paint jobs on something in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? You know, so it's just, there's just so many tools to do that you can't not talk about. You can't just say, okay, it's only drawing. It's like, no, we got to talk a little bit about rendering and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I mean, I think all of us drift into value even in our traditional drawings. It's just, you know, if I'm teaching drawing, I'm going to teach, I mean, they do. If they're teaching drawing, they teach something about value and things like that. You got to talk about it. But then you're talking about tone, and when I think of drawing, I think of linear, even though that's probably wrong-headed thinking. I do think that way, okay? Where's Mackenzie?
Right here.
Okay, we're getting really dark. Yeah?
Yeah, I was kind of struggling a little bit.
Now did you look at some reference?
Yeah, I did.
For sure with this one, I think I would probably put a moon up here. Now, I don't know where I'd put it. Or how bright it would be.
That's a big one.
Hmm?
That's a big one.
Yeah, I need because it needs a big light statement somewhere. Okay, so this bit of land back here,
Mhm.
for sure. Hang on. That's the other beauty of it. It's like, see how much that alone helps it? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we got to go, so that's why I'm trying to figure out, would I put the moon here or back there?
When I was doing the initial sketch, you would tell me to put my light source behind the bridge. So that's where I generally thought the light was coming from. That's why the shadows on the buildings are on the left side.
Well, I mean, you can put that wherever you want, really.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to do is get myself something where I can start, because this is a bunch of water right here. So I'm kind of going, well, I'm going to get water, then I want to get maybe some value out of it where this is maybe reflecting into the water.
Oh, okay.
Because then I can start really telling the viewer that's smudged out too much. Hang on. And I'm going to have to build this a little bit. And then I'm going to have to really kind of come in here and finesse it. I still don't like that, but it's something like that, right? Oops.
Mhm.
Something like that. And then, can I could probably vary these a little also. So some of them would get a little brighter, some of them wouldn't. Hang on. And then there's a lot of light here. So that means I could probably get a little, it's too much. Hang on. A little of that's going to spill onto this railing. Yeah?
Yes.
And then if I'm saying most of my lights out here, and then I'd vary some in here too. So I'd come in here and go, okay, I got a little light going. Maybe a little there.
Oh, it is, but I guess it's too late to see.
Then I would probably, like I said, I'd probably put a little lighthouse or something back here. Because then I have an excuse to go light that up a little bit. Oops. And then I'd probably vary this a little bit.
Do you think I should add like some clouds behind the mountain?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
And then there's breaks in, you know, this, I could just break this up a little bit with some darker values. You see how little you can do to it and it just really helps it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're probably going to get a little bit of you know, where that water's hitting the shore. Oops, that's crappy. Hang on. You're going to get a little bit of that water hitting the shore, however that's going to happen. You know, because when the water breaks on the shore, it foams up and goes white, correct? Yeah?
Yes.
So let's get a little lighter. We can do a little bit. I don't want to do too much here. But you get the point. I kind of hit the surface with a little bit of that foam, right?
Mhm.
I might go in and knock some of this out.
Yeah, it looks a lot better, the water.
Yeah, because we really want to get a sense. And same thing here, by the way. We could probably go, you know, it's going to be, I don't know, let's say there. And I could probably reflect some of these bridge lights into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you want to be subtle with it. I'm going to knock some of it out, knock some of it back. You know, I have to work through that a little bit.
But the other lights I did were okay.
Yeah, because you're lighting up the table. That's good. I don't know about this wall, if that would catch so much. Yeah, I guess it could catch some. And then down here again, okay, so down here again, this window's not bad. It looks like low light in there. Oops, let me get down the regular. But what I might do here now, again, there's no variation in any of the light sources here, so I'd probably go, and I'm very close here, so if there was like a lamp sitting next to the window, you're going to see it, right? You're going to see the light from it. I don't like that on either side. And I just want to get a little bit, you know, maybe that much, you know, not hardly anything. And see how when you vary it, it just gives it a little bit of activity?
Yeah. I think what I should do is, instead of like zooming in and doing all of it, to have it like you and like have it zoomed out and you can see the difference. Because when I was zooming in and like changing the opacity by like single digits, it looked different, but then when you zoom out, it doesn't really look that different.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point. You need to get the overall thing. It's always big picture to small picture. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it and I'm zooming out and going, okay, it's all, because all of this has to work together, right? Yeah. So if I zoom in on something, I've lost sight of everything else. I'm zooming in on one little thing and I don't know how it relates to the rest of the image. Yeah? You there?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
but see how we did hardly anything and it plussed it up? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I also might go over here, because most of the light right now is sort of out front. I'd probably come in here and throw in some shadow values on this side. That's a little better. And then maybe, you know, a little darker or a little lighter.
The multiply layer just makes it darker, but you can see through the detail, like the details come.
Yes, it makes it, I can, and I'm going to show you another technique that's the other way around, like a comic book.
Like a overlay layer kind of thing.
Yeah, what the multiply works really good with grays and blacks, mostly grays, right? Mm-hmm. And also it'll work really great with whites. I'll show you that later. I'll probably show you that next week. Because we're going to play around Photoshop for a while. Where's Natalie?
Right here.
Did you send me an email? You sent me an email, right?
Yeah.
So you want me to upload that thing, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will. Always tell me, because sometimes I'll go, I don't think there's anything valuable in that. But if you think there is, then tell me and I'll put it up. Sometimes I just think it's me rambling and I don't want to. Okay, one thing I would probably do is some, let's do this really sloppy. Ah. I'd probably want to light it up a little here. Maybe even just that much.
Yeah, I had it a little bit lighter, and the lighthouse had to come out the way I had it before, but I just couldn't get the right effect of it, and it just ended up becoming a
Do you guys know how to use the gradient tool, right?
blob. So that's
Where you at?
Yes.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, another thing I would do is based on where my light is, it's kind of, you're gonna get some moonlight, but I like these shadows like coming in like that. I think you need to differentiate this a little bit. Like all the values on the housing are all the same. Do you see that? You there? Where'd you go? Can you guys hear me?
yeah.
We can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
Sorry, it keeps going on mute for some reason.
See how I just deepened up that shadow?
Yeah.
See how much that helps?
Yeah.
We gotta get contrast, right? Natalie?
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing with digital is you don't have to be afraid of it. You can just dial it in. That's why a lot of times I throw it on another layer, like this shadow I just put in. It's on its own layer, right? So if I come here, I can just go, I don't like that. It's too bright or too not bright. I can just dial it in. And levels, I think is right here. Hang on. That's weird. Oh, hang on. Levels, I think is right under adjustments, levels, okay? Or you can just go Command L. And that'll just basically raise or lower your value, right? And this is your mid-tone, this one in the middle, this is your high, and this is your dark, okay?
Okay.
So I'd say go in there and get a little more, and also we talked about those surface reflections. I'd get a few surface reflections in there,
Okay.
okay? Because that's going to really start to make your reflections really sing.
So add more, darken up the shadows by the buildings, add
Surface reflections.
surface reflections.
Yeah. And then separate the buildings a little bit with value. And then let me see it again. I want to see what you do with it. Yeah? You there? She's disappeared.
It's cutting on and off, sorry.
Okay, that all makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay, where's Savannah? She here?
I'm here. Sorry, it's not, it wasn't unmuting, and I was like, ah.
We got to get some structure in here. It's too airbrushy, and the clouds aren't sort of structured, right?
Okay. Yeah, I was still
Well-
figuring it out. It took me 2 hours to get the color, the white thing to work right for some weird reason. I kept trying and I kept rewatching the video and like trying to get everything all set up correctly, and I tried to do it and it wouldn't work, and I just kept closing it and it worked eventually. So I don't know what I did differently.
You might not. I might have to see it, but the tricky thing with clouds is they look like you could kind of make any shape with them, but they do have some sort of logic and structure to them, right?
Yeah.
You painted that moon. That's pretty good. Is that just painted?
Yeah. Yeah, I did the thing where you reverse the little black and white square that
Yeah, I would
Spread
also
it
get the
around.
ground probably
and like
dark.
a little bit of white behind it.
I'd get the ground darker.
Yeah, the ground darker.
Yeah, because everything's sort
Okay.
of floating and I'm kind of going, I don't know what's going on here lighting wise. Like, yeah, the moon can light it a little bit, but and then if the moon's behind it that strong, then I could probably cast some shadows of those buildings casting in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are some shadows, but as this has been turned in, they look lighter for some weird reason.
Well, like you could probably get something coming out here somehow. More than one.
Yeah.
So, you
I'm
know, 'cause
sorry
if
if you
that's
hear my bird
backlit,
yelling.
and this would be really subtle probably, and I'd have to like plot it a little more, but I could probably come in here. You know, just subtly, even less than that. I'd probably soften this a little. Not that much. Maybe there. And I probably might even pull it back a little more. Yeah, probably just like that. You know. And then if I'm saying it's back here and it's casting like that, then that's got to cast that way, that's got to cast that way, and that's got to cast that way.
Yeah, that makes more sense now that I'm seeing it. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do these.
It
'Cause
kind
it's
of
like I haven't done this very much.
And then this whole ground here, I would darken up.
Yeah, I thought about adding a little more like maybe texture with the shadows so it's not so flat down the
I
middle.
would put in the
ground.
shadows and then, or I put in the, like, let's say the ground value. So let's just say it's this for now. And I'm just going to go over that.
Yeah, that already looks better.
Maybe about there. And then I could go in, and I'm going to give you these brushes. Probably this. I'll put them up this week, or this by tomorrow or whatever. I could come in here and probably find. Let's find something to do my work for me. So let's go here. Let's see what we got. Yeah. See how that brush will just give me a bunch of nice texture?
Yeah, it looks a little more like gravel or dirt.
Yeah, like let the brush do the work. If I was painting this traditionally, I'd do it the same way.
All right.
I'd get I keep all my old crappy brushes. And the reason I keep those is because they make great leaf shapes, natural bark shapes, and they're all thrashed, but they do a certain thing with the paint. That's no different than this. You know, and I might even go, maybe there's another brush in here I like. I'm going to give you guys a huge dump of brushes pretty quick. So you're going to have to start going through them. And by the way, you should be able to just double click them and they'll go into Photoshop. If you want, I'll put them up and you can wait till next week to, and I'll show you how to put them in.
That back area is supposed to be water. I just didn't know how to draw it when I actually drew.
Say it's hills now.
Okay, it's hills now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll draw some better hills then.
And then this here, following the logic of where your light is, that also has to get darker. Not that dark, it's too dark. Hang on. It's weird, it's not letting me. I think it's too dark. That's weird. Wait a minute. So let's just do it this way. More like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, and again, vary your light in here. Like, what year is this? You know?
No. I was gonna have some like when I first tried to do this and I messed up, I tried to have like street lamps there or something around that.
I'm just going in here dancing a little bit of hot light here and there, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
In here, right there. Hang on. Right here. Right in there. I put another hot light right there. You know,
something that would look like a light source inside, basically.
It's called, I don't know, when I was working for Imagineering, we called it a point source. Like point source of light, right?
Yeah, okay.
I just always borrow that for this same thing, because to me it's like there's a light source, but somewhere there's the point source of the light. That's where it's the brightest. If you look at an incandescent bulb, it's right on that little wire, it's just burning white hot, right?
Yeah.
But then it drops off, right? A flame, same thing, you know. It's really hot at the center of it, and then it sort of fades off to lighter values, or not as intense temperatures, okay?
Yeah.
Where's Taylor?
Hi. I'm right here.
All right, what do you think?
I mean, after seeing everyone else's, I kind of know like what to do more with it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And no fuzziness around here. Why is there fuzziness there?
I don't know. This was like my first time doing Photoshop.
It's because you used a fuzzy brush, and what I want you to do, and this by the way, this street is another candidate. This is probably gonna be way too big. Yeah, ooh, that's way too big. Let's get this other one, hang on. I think I like this one. It's another candidate. What the hell? Hang on, let's do this. It's gonna go a little lighter. I have a lot of brushes that do exactly. Let's try this one. And by the way, it's not always just throwing down this light, but I could get some texture on here, correct?
Yeah.
And that's not a good one. But so a lot of times I'll come in here and I'll just start shaping it out, and I'll go back and forth. But you can just find a nice texture brush and just go right over it, and it'll give you all your texture.
Okay.
It's not so it's not such a black hole, right?
Right.
All right. So all right. Well, like here too. I mean, you got a big opportunity here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you how I should do the sign, because it was like, I know it's like a wooden sign, but I kind of want it to be more bright, on like the back thing. So it's kind of like, I don't know the word. It's not like neon, but it's like backlit.
No, it's these. And also, I would put some of this stuff on here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I wouldn't do it everywhere because it's out in the desert and someone would probably be burned out.
Right.
I might even do it if I can get away with it in here, maybe. Yeah, and then if it's backlit, I might have to play. Okay, so normally what I would have done with a black backlit is I would have created that first, then put my letters over it.
Right.
Okay. But since you didn't, which is just great, by the way, I'm gonna go. Okay, so so how does a backlit sign work?
Light and then letters.
It's backlit. So what it usually means is, because these are usually the backlit ones are pretty inexpensive. So, you know, as signs go, they're pretty inexpensive. So it's not a whole lot different. They put bulbs on the inside of the thing. So it's gonna diffuse it to a certain point, sort of like what we've been talking about. But then there's a bulb here, so it gets a little lighter, and then then maybe there's not a bulb for another 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got a diffusion panel, so it sort of diffuses it a little bit. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just going to have these little spots, and it's going to sort of drop off and then have little hot. Like I might put an overall lighter value on it, but then hot spot it in a couple of spots where they put the bulbs. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'd for sure light them up with some of these bulbs around it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because usually, especially out in the desert like that, they're going to be, half of them are going to be burned out. Where's crazy?
Right.
Where's crazy Elan? Elan.
Hi, Mike.
By the way, by answering to that, you're admitting you're crazy. Okay, what do you think? Where'd you go?
I think I could vary it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think over here. So what is this?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's this building here?
Trying to look for it.
What's that?
I'm trying to look for your cursor. Where's your cursor pointing?
I'm saying this building right here.
Oh, I was going to make it into a dining area, and I thought I put enough lights on it, but I probably should put some more.
Yeah, because that's activity going on there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's going to be maybe even some brighter lights. You know, it's a business. You know, it's supposed to be active. It's supposed to be fun. They're going to have more lighting. You know.
Yeah.
Which means I'd probably get a little upstairs, but I could also say upstairs is, you know, I mean, it could be anything, but I'd probably light it up a little. I don't think I'd make it compete with the ground, but I'd probably light it up a little because it's probably part of the business maybe, or not, you know, it could be an upstairs dining room. I don't know. So that would give me an excuse to do.
Or a lounge area.
Or a lounge area. You know, that's up to you. That's what I like about doing this is then my brain goes down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
You know, maybe a little bit of more on this car, a little bit. And then again, if I have some activity going over here, then I might have a little excuse to light a little bit of that up a little bit because it's catching light from all this restaurant stuff. And then I was thinking on mine, and you don't have to do everything I'm saying, by the way. You know, I like the idea of maybe this is getting light from some source that I'm not seeing. Just to separate things.
Yeah, just need to push and pull a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I like the way you canopied this, where this dark, or this light's over this dark.
Oh, yeah? Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like the clouds. Where'd you learn how to do such a cool
Thank you. From your Photoshop 101 class.
Right. I don't know why, but I love that stupid trick because it's so simple but it's so effective.
It does. It works really well.
Because I remember painting. I remember one time I wish I still had this painting. I did this gouache painting in a class when I was at Art Center of a spaceship. And I was painting the planet. And I remember that being so hard back then. You know what I mean? like trying to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I like this little subtle light on this. That's great.
Thank you.
I like that you didn't overdo it. Boy, that planet's nice. That moon.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great. Okay, just pop in a couple of those little things, and that's it.
Yes, sir. I'll do that.
And then do 14 more.
You got it. I'm drawing some more buildings right now.
Good. Are you on a building kick now, like you're on a tree kick?
Yeah, pretty much.
Good.
For your sketchbook, I'm challenging myself to draw entirely in ink, if that's okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, drawing's drawing. I don't care what you draw with, really.
Sounds
The only
good.
time I kind of worry about it is if somebody's really new and they're really trying to bite off more than they can chew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it kind of bothers me. But other than that, I don't care. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. Because we still have, yeah, we have some time. Okay. So let's talk about simple. Elan, you already know this from my other class. But okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's go. Okay, so when you search things for what I'm about to tell you, you'll want to search them. I'm giving you a packet of them. So what's in that packet is all this. Okay, does that make sense? Where's everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go. Okay,
Yeah, I got it.
Everybody in here has at least been in Photoshop somewhat, correct?
Kind of.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna. If you haven't, I need to know because I'll sort of walk you through the ground up thing.
I'm probably gonna need some help, to be
That's
honest.
fine. That's
Yeah.
totally fine. What's that?
Nothing. I said I was in Photoshop.
Okay, so I've got my, okay, so if you have a computer that's set up, and a lot of them are, they'll open files like in preview or something like that, which I don't like because I'm almost never doing that. I can preview them in Bridge if I need to. Hang on. It is a zip file, whoever's asking that. You have to double click it and unzip it. It's just a compression format. Okay. What was I just talking about? Oh, when it opens. Okay, so if you want to change that, so you can do this where you can just double click it and it opens in Photoshop because it's not doing that right now. You can go to Photoshop, open and find it. It'll have your most recent files here and you can double click it. Or you can take this icon and drag it onto the Photoshop icon and it'll open it. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Professor,
Hmm.
what do you mean by unzip the file?
That is a compression format.
So when you double click it, it should unzip?
Yes.
Mine doesn't do that.
Okay, something's wrong there then.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
Hang on a second. Okay, whatever. Try right-clicking it and see if it gives you the option. Okay, but if mine doesn't, if I can't double-click it, it opens in another program like Preview. You can go Command-I, and then you can change it where it says Open With, and I can change it to any of these. Mine's on Adobe. And then you can, if you hit Change All, it means that every time you open any kind of file like that, it'll just automatically open in Photoshop. Does that make sense? Taylor froze.
I froze.
Yeah, now you're all right. There's going to be a pop quiz on this tomorrow, Taylor.
That's good.
You better know. I've actually talked to teachers who do pop quizzes. I just think that's weird.
For art?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to me in this kind of class. I mean, it's art history. I get it, but in this kind of class, this kind of class is like, you know, if they're getting the material because they're doing exercises, and if they don't do it right, you know, they're not getting it.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of reason though. And the best way to learn, in my opinion, is doing. Okay, so I'm going to go here. Okay, so here's what we're going to start now. We're going to start the basic discussion of brush creation, correct?
Yes.
And then we're going to go into much more complex brush creation. And then we're going to go into interactive or reactive brushes and things like that. Okay?
Okay.
It's very helpful stuff. Elan knows it.
Yep, very helpful.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. This is very simple. I'm going to select my image. Oh, what I was going to say is when you're doing this kind of thing, when you go on Google or wherever you're image searching, search for like tree on white, okay? Because otherwise it's going to pick up the background and you don't want to do that. So I've got this, this brush now. So I'm going to go, I have to find it now. I forgot where it is. Define brush preset. Okay, you guys see it? Taylor?
Where?
Right there.
Wait. Oh, yeah, no, I see it.
Okay, so I've got it selected and I go define brush
Brush.
preset. And I want to say ugly old tree. Okay, so now I say okay. And now you see it's created a brush. You see that?
Oh.
Okay, I mean, it's that simple. But
That's
so
cool.
now I'm going to go to my brushes right here. You guys see where I'm at, Taylor?
Yes.
So I'm going to drop down here and I'm going to go, here's ugly old tree right there. Okay. I don't know why I put it in that folder. I'm going to go up to my little settings icon, my little gear. And I'm going to go new brush group. And that's just all that is creating a folder. And I'm going to say crazy dart 107 class. Okay.
Where do
Say it again.
go again? Again?
Where's what again?
Where are all the folders?
Folders, you go right here where the little gear is, and you say new brush group.
Yeah, but no, I meant the screen you're on. I don't know. I don't know how you get there.
How you get to where? Say it again, because you're cutting out.
Oh, I'm talking about the screen where you have all the brushes, and I.
Oh, it's right here under your brushes, right there. So here's your brush, and then right next to it, those are your brushes.
Okay.
So I'm going to take this now, ugly old tree. I'm going to drag it into this crazy dart 107 class. Okay. And then I'm going to go, let's take another one. I don't need this anymore. And let's just go through these real quick. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make a few of these. I'm going to go, let's get another tree. Wait, I think I have another tree. Yeah. Let's get this tree. So make a selection, edit, define brush preset, ugly old tree 2. And then I just like to go right away and go, where is it? It's right here, ugly old tree 2. And I want it in here. Okay. I'm going to drop, let's see what that, okay, good. They're both in there. And now let's just go make a couple more. So I'm going to go here. Same difference. I wonder if you can do it without even defining it. Hang on, I'm going to see if you can. Now, oh wait, let's go to brush. I don't want that. I just want to see if you can do it without even selecting it. Oh, it does. Cool. So now let's go. Now that one's down here. I'm going to put that up in that. Let's do 2 more. And then I'm going to go edit, define brush preset, cross. Jump up here, make sure it's in my group. And by the way, you should be organizing your brushes when you're doing it. When I start giving you mine, you should, like I organize mine into sort of like texture brushes, oil brushes, just stuff like that. Because when you're doing a project, you want to be able to do that, okay? Let's go find brush preset, and this is our last one. Round tombstone. And now I've got that one. And now I'm going to go up here again and go, that's now in my Crazy Dart 107 class, okay? So I'm going to take this now. If I want to move this and move it up here, all I got to do is drag it and put it wherever I want it. There it is. Okay, so now we're going to go over here, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And I'm going to start coming in here and going, I'm going to put a new layer on here. And I'm going to go back to my brushes. And let's just start with this one. Sometimes you have to kind of click them a couple times. So I'm going to go, oops, that's white. I'm going to flip that. It's a little dark. It's a little transparent, but that's all right for now. And then I'm going to go, let's grab, where did I put it? Where did I put my, oh, there it is. Let's go cross. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to go, oops. Oh, somehow I ended up on the same layer. I don't know how that happened. Hang on. So now I'm going to put this one over here. And then I'm going to put another one here. Let's go to this one. Maybe this guy's a little closer. It's a little too close. And then I'm going to tilt them just so they're a little more interesting looking. Then I usually just take an eraser or something and go take out, I'm going to get a little more, it works really good with a texture brush, but I'm not going to do that right now. Let's go to, this will do. And I'll erase some of this out down at the bottom. What's that not doing? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Oh, hang on, my opacity's down. I'll erase some of that out so it'll feel like the grass is creeping up on it down at the bottom. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then, you know, and I do stuff like that, and I'd play with it. And then that was a little transparent. And then I'm going to come in here and go back to my brush. Back to my whatever. Let's do the first tree. And I'm going to go maybe this guy is right in the foreground. What happened? Wait a sec. Something's going on. Oh, I got it on eraser. Want it on brush. And I'll put this just as a foreground element. Okay? Then I'm going to take one more. Take my other tree. Maybe it's also overhanging element. Does that make sense? Now, here's what you got to understand about doing this kind of thing. Because a lot of students, they love this kind of crap because it's simple, right? And then everything they do is a stamp brush thing. We're just starting this discussion. And sometimes this is great. Like if I'm doing an illustration or something, like let's look at this real quick. If I'm doing an illustration or something that's fairly naturalistic, then I might go, I need some foreground trees. I'll go find one. I'll pop it in there, right? If I'm doing something very stylized, this is not going to make sense because I'm going to have a very stylized environment and all of a sudden a very naturalistic tree. And I see people do that kind of crap all the time. And it's like, there's no design point of view here. Like there's no design point of view here. I don't know what you're doing. You know, you have this totally stylized environment and all of a sudden you got a tree or a natural tree or whatever. But I keep a bunch of, I don't know if I have them in here. Let me see. You know, and here's the other thing, as you're making brushes and getting brushes, you got to organize them. So I have a whole, I might have it here. Hang on. Oops. Yeah. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, like that one's a bush. And then I have some that are like hanging vines. And I just have all kinds of crap like that. You know, and then I might even come in here and go, it's, you know, maybe I'll soften one of these up, you know, just to make them less uniform and things like that. But if you do it in a stylized illustration, but what you can do, like I do this all the time. So like if I'm doing an illustration or something like that, and I've sort of established the look of it, and then I go, oh, well, I kind of hand painted these trees over here. I'll go and grab some of those leaves from my tree that I painted, and now I'll create a scatter brush out of it, and I can kind of brush those leaves around and fiddle around with them so they don't look totally uniform, and I just saved myself 2 hours of painting, right? And it's based on my own stuff. So then that'll work. So then you make a folder of your assets for whatever the job name is, and it's all the elements that you can start to build it very quickly, okay? So if you look at this kind of stuff. Let me see if I can find them. Like, like some of these elements in this, like these trees back here and stuff, look like they're probably stamp brushes. Does that make sense? And it works. It works fine in this illustration, right? And another thing is you have to understand, it's another thing that happens with students is you show them stuff like this, and then they stop doing the right work that they're supposed to be doing. They start relying on all these tricks. Right? Does that make sense? You can't rely on tricks. What these things are, you got to know your underlying thing. What these things are is further down the road, they're time savers. When you got a gun to your head, which you always will with a project, as soon as somebody starts a project, they're putting their gun to their head and they're clicking that thing and they're like, you better get that done on time, dude. And it's pressure. So you need all these things. I mean, these things really help, okay? But you got to know how to use them. And then, let's see, I know there was another one that it's a really good example of this. There's this one that's a really good example, and I can't find it. It was like anyway. I'll find it eventually. But anyway, he's doing a lot of combination of that kind of thing. And a lot of these paintings you're looking at, like these kind of things, you know, a lot of times you're looking at it going, how much of that's painted, how much of that's just photo bashed, and how much of that's stamp brushed, and how much of that, you know. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day when you're doing a job. You just got to get the job done, right? These are expressions of design to me more than they are a painting. Does that make sense? This has to go to an art director or director or whoever, and you go, here's how I'm visioning. We like this. This is how I think the environment looks like, so on and so forth. And they, you know, and then they go, yeah, but I think it'd be cool if it was a little bluer over here or whatever. Okay, but you're just doing those things very quickly. And then you could go into a whole bunch of other stuff. It's different stuff. But there's all sorts of things you could do here. And I don't want to get into this because it's starting to get into color. We'll get into that later. You know, we could start doing that. We could start coming in here. And that's just an overlay again with a gradient. And go back to my normal brush. I'm going to get the same kind of color. I'm going to mix the color basically out of the color I already have here, because maybe it'll be a little more harmonious. I'm going to go a little more yellow on it. Okay, so another thing, you guys, I can go under where you go under image. Hang on. These are just a couple of basic things. I want you to understand levels. Okay, so you go image adjustments, levels, or you can go brightness, contrast. These are the three I want you to remember: brightness, contrast, levels, and then hue, saturation, which is just Command U. So I'm going to go to hue, saturation, because what can I do here? Look, I already put this color down, right? But I don't think it's the right color. So I can go right here to this hue slider, and I can go through it and go, what color works better? And I kind of want to go maybe a little more there, maybe. But even if I don't like that, hang on, I can change it again. So let's just go in here and say there's a warm light in here. And again, I'm going to vary my hotspot. Maybe this is candlelight. So in there, there's a little. And you can see how quickly we can start to pull together an illustration, correct? Yeah?
Yes.
Or an image. Now, I'm going to try this with this one. I usually go over multiple overlays and just try things. But I'm just going to shift through my... Is this what they talk about getting hoarse when you're talking a lot? I always say that's wimpy. Now it's happening to me. I'm gonna adjust my slider. Because I just want to see, like, I kind of like the bluish kind of thing. And then if I go this next one down, I can control the saturation, okay? So, I mean, I could even hyperize it that way. Now I got more color in there, so I go, do I like that better? Where it's a little less of a statement. Simple, right? Okay, does all that make sense? I want that by Monday or Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah.
Monday. So you want to pick a pick online and then edit?
Tuesday. It's due before class on Tuesday. What's that, Ethan?
What do you want by Tuesday?
This. And you don't have to put color in it, by the way. I was just kind of screwing around. I don't care about color. If you want to, that's cool. The only thing I'm trying to get through to you is certain things like these overlays and things like that, how much impact they can have and how little. I mean, it takes 2 seconds, right? These are just gradients, color gradients, and then I just did overlays. And try different overlays, okay? And then we're going to, next week, we're going to start in on more complex brushes. Yeah?
Thanks, Dean.
Adam, cutting out again.
You mean like any scene we can make?
I don't care. I don't care what the scene is.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
What size in DPI?
Okay, I just make sure you're getting, I mean, nothing smaller than letter size. Yeah?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
And when you do a search on Google, make sure you're changing the, under tools size, make sure you're going after large files. You know, and just make sure they're not tiny. Because a lot of times it'll say it's a large file. I always go to open image in new tab, and then I look at it, and if it's this big, then that's how big it is. And a lot, I want to find things that are, big enough for me to use so they're not pixelating and all that kind of stuff, right? And they can be 72. They don't need to be anything over 72.
Yes, sir.
Because all we're doing, this is an exercise. I'm not going to, spend a bunch of time on it and all that kind of stuff. It's just an exercise. And then, because I want you to understand this, because then we can go into the much more complex brush making stuff. Yeah? Taylor? Man, my connection sucks.
Yeah.
I blame you for this, Elan, for my crappy connection.
I didn't hit no, I think.
Could be anything.
I had the worst connection last night ever. It went out for like 20 minutes. I couldn't get it back up again.
That was a long time. We were all just sitting there like in silence for a while.
Was that your illustration class?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Crazy Taylor was in there. Was so pissed because I was going downstairs and I reboot it, and it does that every now and then. It'll completely go out, and then it just takes like 20 minutes for it to come back up. Super frustrating. Okay, so we know what we're doing, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Create a theme with custom brushes.
That's it. And again, it's pretty loose. Just make sure it's make sure it's cool looking.
Okay. Will the brushes you showed us be on canvas?
I'm gonna I'll probably put my brushes up. They're already up, but I just got to link them for you guys.
Okay.
There's gonna be a ton of them in there. I might go in, and I think I already have. I might go in and make sure they're separated a little bit. So some of them are group brushes. I think that's how it's pronounced. Those are a lot of kind of reactive. They're like this. Hang on. Oops.
Done.
They're kind of this kind of thing. You see that? They have nice texture, I go into a lot of this brush stuff, and then later on we'll do a color thing, usually in here. It is not a digital painting class, but what I'm trying to do is get a hold of you guys early on and kind of go from rendering to a very simple color technique. So you sort of have an approach to it. But the main thing I want to make sure is that you guys are understanding edges and texture and brush control and all that kind of stuff, because then it's going to set you up better when you go into digital painting. You're going to have those things in your head, and you're going to know, okay? Because again, that's the number one thing I see falling apart with digital painters is they don't know anything about brushwork, and they don't really understand painting, and they don't understand light at all, okay? You got to understand those things. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It's no different than traditional painting in that way, okay? It's the same, I see the same thing with traditional painting, by the way. It's that same mushy, everything's soft-edged, nothing has any structure. You always see it in beginning paintings. It's just part of beginning painting. But you have to become aware of it to get good at it, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
So some of them will be those. Some of them are going to be Greg Rakowski's brushes, and he works really. I'm really into people who work in a painterly way. Okay, and you guys can switch it up whatever you want, but I want you to know that. Okay. Here he is. So he works very painterly, right? I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Digital?
That's
Yes, that's digital,
Oh damn.
right?
Holy shit.
I know. And by the way, if you show me that and you go, it's oil, I might buy it.
Yeah.
Actually, I
What
probably
brush is
would.
that?
I mean, the thing is, I've really looked at his stuff, and it's hard to find stuff that keeps it away.
Right.
I mean, it's very painterly. Oh, another thing I want to give you guys, I think it's bundled into my brushes. I have Greg. Okay, and here's the other thing. I actually don't believe in giving these things away for free. The reason I'm doing it because somebody worked to create them, and it's their product. But I also know everybody's broke, and everybody can't. Usually when you're a student, you're broke. I expect you, once you have some money and once you're working or whatever it is you're doing, that you go buy these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I really don't like doing that, but I also kind of need you guys to have some brushes so I can have this discussion. Okay? So don't get into this stupid thinking of like getting everything for free and all that shit. Especially a lot of these brushes are not even that expensive. Like I've got really great brush packs for like $5. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to make your own. So it's like you're going to have a big variety of what you can do with that. Okay? Because you need to know how to make your own, because sometimes you just need to make a custom brush. Because you're like, I need lizard scales a certain way, and you just make it. Okay? I like, there's another one here. Oh, look at this one. Of course it's tiny. Hang on. Look at this one. This one's cool. Look at that. Isn't that badass?
Damn.
Wow.
It's so hard to believe that's digital. Like, that's crazy.
Painting's painting.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
So why does this look digital? I mean, why does this look traditional? Sorry.
I guess because like I'm new to digital, so I don't really comprehend how it's digital yet. Like I could see it more traditional, but yeah.
The
His variation in edges.
His variation edges. His mark making. He's approaching this where he's just abstracting what he's looking at and painting it. Okay. And then he's got some brushes that will emulate regular brushes. That's really not the technique. I can do all this with just stock Photoshop brushes, okay? I don't have to have a bunch of custom brushes because I know how to paint, okay? And then he's also not over-describing everything, okay? So if I go, look at, that right there is basically an abstract painting. Am I wrong? Look. I wouldn't know what that is if you take that out of context. It just looks like an abstract painting, correct? And I can go all through here. There's an abstract painting. There's an abstract painting. I mean, I could go on and on, right? But once I pull back, it all pulls together optically, okay? So it's the looseness of that brushwork and the mark making and the indication and not over describing things that's making it look like a painting, plus the texture, okay? Look, that's a silhouette basically, right? With a couple of highlights on it. I mean, on and on. It's just all really simple mark making. And then here and there, he pops a form out that tells you, that gives you some information. But he just gives you enough, right? So what happens? Your eye fills it all in. Your brain fills it all in. it feels better to me when people do that. When people over describe things, it doesn't do it for me. Okay, and that's just me. That's a stylistic thing. But he's giving me here and there. He's giving me a couple of. He's giving me this guy. He's giving me a full figure there. And there's probably, and then he's got the. Okay, so this also comes down to sorry, giving the viewer enough information where they understand what's happening. Does that make sense? So you're giving me, okay, you got a silhouette right there of a horseman, right? Or whatever they're called. Then you got that other one here, and then it echoes over here a little bit, even though that gets more abstract. Then you're telling me this guy's got a helmet on, this guy, and then I start going, okay, now I can just pop all these helmets in there and light them a little bit, because I know, and then I see this big giant thing here. So I know it's like it's a crowd surging towards this to fight this thing. It's totally obvious, okay? And then this, like these swords or whatever they are popping up out of this crowd. It's very locked into your mind. Like, oh, sort of a medieval soldiers on horseback going into battle or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff that he's referencing off of very loosely that gives the viewer enough information to know what's happening. Does that make sense? And then also when you work this way, look at this stuff back here, man. You know, it's just like, it's an abstract painting. Like people always talk to me when they show me this stuff and they go, I love super detailed stuff. There's no detail in this. Are you noticing that? None. Okay, yeah, I don't think he tricked anything out here. Maybe that a little bit. And then the flag, that's another big indicator. Fire, I mean a dragon, obviously we all know what that is. And then, you know, this stuff back here, the brushes I'm gonna give you will do that kind of mark making, okay? If you're interested in that. And the reason I'm talking about this is not a digital painting class, I get it, but I'm always going to talk about mark making, and I'm always going to talk about line quality, and I'm always going to talk about design, because it applies to anything you do. Does that make sense? And what I'm going to show you how to do basically later on, and we're building towards it, is how to do some, you know, fairly gestural mark making, and then take that straight into a painting and using it as a jumping off point to start a color painting. Does that make sense? And I'll show you all that later. It'll be fairly simple. I think Elan's done it with me. And Elan, if you've done it in other class, because I think you have, make sure that you start now thinking like, hey, I want to do this instead of that, okay?
Okay, for the next project, you're saying?
Not the next one, but when we get into and some of these things that, like, if I have overlap that you've done in like Photoshop, then tell me. You go, hey, we did that in Photoshop, and we can decide something else you want to do, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Because some of these things I have to overlap into different classes. Anyway, I love this kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm going to give you his brushes, and then in those brushes, what is that? Hang on. What was I going to say? Oh, in his brushes, there's two demos in there, and it's one him going from, it's another painting, from beginning to end, okay? And then there's another one, I think it's that boat one I showed you, of him doing that beginning to end, okay? And you're gonna see it's just big fat, big shapes, big mark making, then he works smaller and smaller, and that's it. It's fairly straightforward, it's very straightforward, okay? There's no BS stuff in there. It's all just fairly, it's mostly just painting. And you're gonna notice he flips his stuff a lot. You should be flipping your stuff when you're working digitally, because you can, you know, and I work on them backwards a lot. If I work on it backwards and forwards, I'm going to get a super balanced image, because that flipping it is going to show you what's wrong with it, okay? So as soon as you get that thing sort of ghosted in, flip it, right? When we start getting to this kind of thing, okay? So there'll be 2 videos in there too, which I think are really good. And you, again, this thing we're going to do now with the stamp brush thing, you don't have to add color. You can if you want, I don't care, but I just want you to play with it basically, okay? And just get used to the, you know, just making a stamp brush. It's not going to be any big hard thing for you to do. And just know when you stamp them, they tend to go a little transparent. You can just kind of stamp them a couple times, they'll get a little darker, okay? that make sense?
Yes.
And then you're going to do stuff better than this dude, right? By the time this class ends, you're going to do stuff better than this guy. What's this one?
So, Mike,
Look at that one. That's cool, man. Yeah.
since I already did the cemetery haunted / haunted house scene with you already in the
Yeah.
Photoshop 101 class, I'll do a different one.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And anything that overlaps, tell me. And then I want to get some stuff with you. You know, where we can start, because you're starting to do that, like that, this one you just did, the night, you know, the New Orleans thing or whatever. I mean, that's starting to hit some new stuff, and I want to make sure that we're kind of pursuing that too, right? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to go?
Yes.
Okay, so we all know what we're doing. I'll put it under assignments, correct?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Man, you guys are cutting in and out.
Yes.
Yes. Oh no.
Okay, so we all know what we're doing. And I do 2 thumbs up, Taylor. Then I do this.
Like this? Yeah, I know that.
Sometimes I even do this. Sometimes I do this.
You don't want to do both?
No. now you went too far. Okay, so we know what we're doing. I'll put it up under assignments. I'll go through this last thing we did. I will put my brushes up. And my brushes, I think that's it. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, guys, get it done by Tuesday.
Cool.
It's simple.
All right.
All right.
All right, you guys, I'll let you go.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Have a
you,
good
guys.
weekend.